Hey there, welcome to week 7, day 6. We are about to jump into a new chapter, chapter 14. We're going verse 1 to 14, chapter 14, 1 to 14. In today's, we see Jesus interacting with a Pharisee. And remember, Jesus is making his way to Jerusalem, and he's doing all this teaching on his way, setting up, spreading the message of God's coming kingdom, who he is, and what he's come to do. So today we read about him at a Pharisee's house. Verse 1, chapter 14. One Sabbath, when Jesus went to eat in the house of a prominent Pharisee, he was being carefully watched. There in front of him was a man suffering from abnormal swelling of his body. Jesus asked the Pharisee and experts of the law, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not?" But they remained silent. So taking hold of the man, he healed him and sent him on his way. Then he asked them, "If one of you who has a child or an ox that falls into a well on the Sabbath day, do you not immediately pull it out?" And they had nothing to say. So Jesus right now is calling out their hypocrisy. He said, "You won't let me heal and help people on the Sabbath, but if one of your own animals fell into a hole on the Sabbath, you wouldn't leave it there for a day and then come get it, but rather you help out on the Sabbath." It's not this like, you can't do anything ever. The Sabbath was a day given by God for people to rest and have relationship with him, to focus on relationship with him. Helping others is a huge way on that day to honor God. And so this is what Jesus is pointing to. When someone invites you to a wedding feast, do not take the place of honor, for a person more distinguished than you may have been invited. If so, the host who invited both of you will come and say to you, "Give this person your seat." Then, humiliated, you will take the least important place. But when you are invited, take the lowest place, so that when your host comes, he will say to you, "Friend, be honored in the presence of all other guests." For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. So again, Jesus preaches a message that people need to hear, and that's kind of the reverse of what people would think in his time. What Jesus is saying is, he says, hey, never put yourself before others. When you get to a place and there's like the best seat or the worst seat, take the worst seat. And if you are someone who people want to give honor to, they'll tell you, hey, get up from that seat and come move to this one. But never assert yourself, never think more of yourself than you should, because in those people who are prideful, they will be humiliated. But rather humble yourself, and if God or if others want to exalt you, they will. And so humility, again, is a huge thing for Jesus. And verse 12, then Jesus said to his host, "When you give a lunch or a dinner, do not invite your friends, your brothers or sisters, your relatives, or your rich neighbors. If you do, they may invite you back, and so you will be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." Another very interesting thought that Jesus gives us is this: we oftentimes love and give to those who can return that love and gifts. What Jesus is saying, the true sign of a heart that's for him, the true person who's really loving, is those who love others who can't even love in return, or who can't give back in return. When you give to the poor, when you give to those who have no way of giving back to you, it really shows a heart that is loving for the sake of that person, not for, I'm loving them and I know I'll get more back than what I gave. So that's also just such a cool way of thinking that Jesus introduces, be the person who's humble, be the person who gives to those who can't give back, for that truly reflects the heart of God. And so my reflection question for you is this: how often do you find yourself giving to others what they can't give back to you in return? That could be your time, your money, your possessions, your gifts and your talents. whatever it is, do you find yourself helping people who can't give back to you, or are you constantly helping others who you help them, they help you, and that's the limit? You know, it's like you would never love or give to someone who couldn't do something back for you. What it really is it's a motive. Where's your heart at? Because if your heart is in helping people because you love them, you love God and you want to love people, if that's your heart, then you don't care about what you get back. But if in your heart, if your motive is selfish, that's when you'll begin to love people for your own self. You know, you'll love them so that they repay you. And it's really a selfish motive then. So this kind of highlights the heart. So your prayer point then is this: God, would you make me a selfless person, a person who loves others for their own sake. Make me a person, God, who loves people because that's how you love them. And let me never love someone for my own sake. Let me not be selfish in the love I give. So that's a deep one. I hope you enjoyed it. Please read this verse on your own. Think about what it means, because when you begin to engage with God's word on your own, that's when he will speak to you most. And when you make time for him in your day, talk to him, read his word, begin to understand and know who he is, but also allow time for him to speak back to you. That's the goal of these. It's just get you engaging with God every single day. And so I hope you take that. Have a good one.